Let's face it, you'll never be as good of a dungeon master as Matt Mercer, Brennan Lee Mulligan, me, unless you watch this video, that is. I'm going to give you 10 secret things that elite DMs don't want you to know, so you can run perfect games of D&D just like me. Before we get started though, make sure you smash that subscribe button, destroy the comment section, and you can go ahead and leave a like now because you're going to like this one. Without further ado, let's get started. Players are like gremlins. They're impulsive, destructive, and you should really never feed them after midnight. It's in their nature to try to take advantage of you. They'll constantly be asking to use spells in different ways, whining to get advantage, or trying to do things like open doors and walk down the road without having to roll for it first. Rules are meant to be followed, and as a DM, you need to rule with an iron fist. Never say yes to your players. There is a very narrow path that you need them to stay on to make sure they're having fun. No matter what they want to say or do, just go ahead and narrate whatever you'd like them to do anyway. Some people might call this railroading, but trains are one of the most influential modes of travel ever invented, so I like to take that as a compliment. Learning to always say no is vital to being a perfect DM. That being said, your player's fun comes before literally everything else in the game. So while always saying no, you do need to also learn how to always say yes. D&D is the world's greatest role-playing game. It says so on every book, meaning your players can do whatever they want. They want to fly? Sure, why not? They want to negotiate with the shopkeep to give them everything they own for free? Hit a nat 20 and it's done. They want to take over as DM so you can, finally get some sleep after hours of nonstop prep? Yeah, that would be great. The rules, throw them out. The only rule that matters is rule of cool. So as long as your definition of cool fits my exact definition of cool that I have in my head, you're golden. Don't worry about things like logic or spell slots. Just let your players do whatever they want and everything else will fall into place. Trust me. Okay, I know I just said that only the rule of cool matters, and that's totally true, and you do need to remember that, but actually all the other ones matter too. It is vitally important that you memorize how far each character can jump, the exact calculation for how long your druid can hold their breath, how much a barbarian can lift, and when exactly you're supposed to use investigation instead of perception. Rules are the foundation of fun, and without them, we have communism. If you don't know every rule, spoilers, you're a bad DM. Can you tell me the spell component for banishment right now off the top of your head? No, you're a bad DM. Don't know whether or not you can unsheath a sword as a free action? Spoilers, you're a bad DM. You don't play with encumbrance? Well, I guess that's fine. Nobody really likes that one, but you're probably still a bad DM. So stop watching the video, grab the player's handbook, and get to work. But do still come back and watch the rest. I really need these views. The channel isn't really doing as well as I hoped, and this is kind of my retirement plan, so I really need this video to hit. Please keep watching. Next tip, no rogues. That's it. Don't do it. D&D is a game, and by definition, games have winners and losers. Perfect DMs aren't losers, so you need to beat your players. You can do this in a lot of different ways, taking away their favorite items, killing all their beloved NPCs, banning rogues, but the best way is through combat. Your players are always scheming, looking for new broken combos and crazy multi-classes to humiliate you with. I mean, half of YouTube videos about D&D are strategy guides for ruining your DM. So you need to fight fire with fire, and I mean that literally. Stack every fight against your players. CR might be utterly broken, but I can tell you a CR 20 Lich is going to beat your weak-ass level 1 players any day. And don't forget to use the terrain against them too. One of my favorite encounters is to describe that my players are in a completely open field with no cover for miles. Then a dragon flies down, blasts them for mega damage, and flies 80 feet back in the air where it's out of reach. And it just kind of sits up there chasing the players until its breath weapon recharges, then it does it again. And if my players think they're smart and try to hold their action, boom, second dragon. You will never lose to your players again. This is the only way to win D&D. And besides, character death enhances every story. Game of Thrones was popular for a reason, and you're going to be the motherfucking George R. R. Martin of tabletop, damn it. A player's character is their window into the world of the story. While you as DM control the places they can go, the people they'll meet, the very fabric of the plot, the choices your players make as their characters are their way to influence the story and play their own role in shaping the narrative that you're constructing together. Those choices are influenced by their backstory, so allowing your players to create meaningful, personal backstories and weaving them into the tale that you're spinning is one of the best ways to get your players invested and run a great game of D&D. But you don't want to be great, you want to be perfect. So forget all that. You can't risk your players screwing up all of the meticulously crafted story that you're putting together for them. What if they choose a race that isn't native to your world? Or they make up characters like a mother or rival that you didn't think of? Or, God forbid, they make it something boring like, I'm just trying to see the world. Disgusting. No. Instead, just write all of your players' backstories for them. That way you can make sure they fit the setting, will work perfectly with the story, and they'll progress down the lines that you set for them. Really, they're going to thank you later for this. It's much better this way. In life, we all have favorites. Favorite movie? The D&D movie. Favorite video game? Baldur's Gate 3. Favorite book? Eat, Pray, Love. And when it comes to your players, it's no different. We all have a favorite player. It's true. Maybe it's because they take notes or they never miss a plot hook. Maybe they bring you snacks before the session. Or maybe you're dating them. Who's to say? But for one reason or another, you have a favorite player, and you need to make sure that everyone else at the table knows who they are. Giving them all the best magic items is a great way to establish a hierarchy at your table. Your favorite paladin gets Holy Avenger, while the rogue, trick question, the rogue gets nothing because no rogues. You can also make sure your favorite player is the one driving the action. Instead of saying, what would you all like to do, you can just make eye contact with your best player and directly ask them what they want to do. This way it'll be clear to the other chumps at the table that you don't mean them. Now, why do this? Well, because it's funny, so there's that. But look, your favorite player is your favorite for a reason. And so if you want the others to get on their level, you need to give them some benefits. Just like how by subscribing to this channel, you can help me get the benefits of basic health insurance, because America is a capitalist wasteland, and now I need to beg strangers online so I can have the dignity of a good checkup. And another thing, tip 8, no bards either. Self-explanatory. DMing involves a lot of work. You have to practice your character voices, buy cool minis, message Matt Mercer constantly to try and collab. There's a lot that goes into running the game. So let's be honest, we have to cut corners somewhere. So when it comes to prep, the best preparation is no preparation. Most of your game is going to come down to winging it anyway once your players get in there and start messing it all up. But they can't mess anything up if there is nothing there at all to start with. Your prep should fit on nothing more than a single post-it note. And honestly, that's a little much. If you're ever in a pickle and not really sure where to go next, just Google a random episode of Grey's Anatomy, give all the characters weird elf names, and then have them start going through one of those plots. Better yet, just pull up ChatGPT. That thing's going to replace all of us DMs soon anyway, so you might as well get in early now so that when it does take over, you can get paid as a prompt engineer or something. Anyway, just wing it. They're not going to notice because they're going to be too busy looking up like OP builds or huffing mini paint. You know, player stuff. But actually, if you want your campaign to be perfect, you need to make sure everything is accounted for. No NPC can be nameless, no town can be mapless, and by God, you better make sure every combat encounter has been vetted and tested at least 6 times over. Players love nothing more than meticulously plotted out details, preferably given to them in both a pre-campaign novella and in-game lore dump, so you better know exactly what the kingdom's tax code is. From the moment you first roll a dice in the campaign, you should know exactly how the final boss is going down. Honestly, you can even pre-roll your attack and damage calculations for every battle, or just pick numbers in the moment that you think would be most dramatic. To help facilitate this, don't forget to script out dialogue for your players to use. I award inspiration for anyone who memorizes them. Players are so dumb. So to recap, don't prep anything, but definitely prep everything. You got that? To be a perfect DM, you need perfect players. And the only way you can be 100% sure that your players will be up to the task is if you are the player. Making a DM PC solves literally all of your problems. You don't need to worry about saying yes or no, just do what you want. Prep? Who needs prep when the whole story is in your head? You can't lose if you're on both sides of the fights. And when your DM PC is the main character, your backstory is the story. You can even play as a rogue if you want. Has nobody ever thought of this? I feel like I just solved D&D. If you follow these tips to the letter, then you too can be a perfect DM. I may not have actually played D&D in years, and maybe my so-called players have stopped returning my calls, but if there's one thing I know, it's that no matter what, you should like and subscribe. Please, this channel is all I have. Do you understand the stress of being an influencer, how much work it takes? My wife is literally going to leave me if I don't hit 1 million subs. I don't even get started on the legal fees. Apparently, you can't just bot your ways to millions of views. Who dies on the Constitution? Nobody told me. But yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks.